Ask a room full of charity trustees to help with fundraising, and you will watch the temperature drop. Someone will study their notes intently. Someone will mention they are just not a salesperson. Someone will say, quite sincerely, that they joined to offer their expertise, not to rattle a tin. And so the most connected, credible, invested people your charity has, the ones who chose to give their name and their governance to your cause, sit almost entirely on the sidelines of the one activity that keeps the whole thing alive. It does not have to be this way. And turning your board into willing, effective fundraisers does not mean turning gentle, reluctant people into pushy askers. It means widening what fundraising means, matching people to the parts they can genuinely do, and removing the fear. This video is about exactly that, how to help your board embrace fundraising without the awkwardness. One honest note first. This is educational content only. We are not affiliated with anything, and nothing here is legal or governance advice, so follow your own rules and constitution and check anything that matters with the official source. Why boards go quiet on fundraising? Let us start by understanding the reluctance, because you cannot fix what you do not understand, and board discomfort about fundraising is almost never laziness. Most trustees are anxious about asking for money for reasons that are entirely human. They fear rejection, they dread seeming pushy or greedy, they worry about damaging friendships by mixing them with money, and many quietly believe they are simply no good at it. Some joined believing their role was strategy and oversight, and were never told that helping the charity be funded is part of the job. Layered on top is a general awkwardness about money that runs deep in most of us. None of this makes them bad trustees, it makes them normal people. So the answer is not to shame or pressure them, which only deepens the freeze. It is to meet the fear with understanding, shrink it, and show them a version of fundraising they can actually see themselves doing, which almost always exists. Fundraising is a board responsibility. Here is a truth that needs saying kindly but clearly. Ensuring the charity has the resources to do its work is a core part of what a board is for, not an optional extra for the keen ones. Trustees hold ultimate responsibility for the organization's survival, and a charity that cannot fund its mission cannot serve anyone. So fundraising is not separate from governance. It is part of protecting the cause they signed up to protect. This does not mean every trustee must personally solicit gifts, but it does mean every trustee has a role to play in the charity being funded, and quietly opting out entirely is not really an option a responsible board member has. The trick is to establish this expectation warmly and early, ideally before someone even joins, so that supporting fundraising is understood as a normal part of being a trustee, not a surprise sprung on reluctant people who thought they had signed up for something else entirely. It is not just about asking for money. Now, the single most liberating idea in this whole video: fundraising is far bigger than asking people for money, and most of it involves no asking at all. When a trustee pictures fundraising, they usually imagine the one thing they dread: cornering a friend for a check. But that is a tiny slice of it. A board member can open the door by introducing you to someone they know. They can thank donors with a personal call, which is pure pleasure and no pressure. They can lend their name and credibility to an appeal. They can host a small gathering in their home. They can share the charity story with their own network. They can help think through strategy, or use professional skills to strengthen a bid. Almost none of that is the dreaded direct ask. Once trustees understand that fundraising is mostly connecting, thanking, opening doors, and championing, the terror shrinks dramatically, because most people can happily do those things and simply did not realize they counted. Start with their own gift. There is one thing you should gently expect of every trustee before anything else: that they make their own donation at a level that is meaningful for them. This matters for two reasons. First, it is very hard to ask anyone else to support a cause you do not support yourself. And funders increasingly ask whether the board gives, because 100% trustee giving is a powerful signal of commitment. Second, once a trustee has given their own gift, they can speak about supporting the charity from genuine experience. I give because, which is far more comfortable and convincing than asking others to do what they have not. The amount does not need to be large, it needs to be real and personally significant, because the point is participation, not size. So make board giving a warm, expected norm, established with care and never with pressure, because a board that all gives is a board that can fundraise with an honest and untroubled heart, opening doors and warm introductions. For most trustees, the single most valuable thing they can do is not give money or ask for it, but open doors. And this is where a board's real fundraising power lives. Every trustee carries a network, people they know, work with, worship with, socialize with, and among those contacts are future major donors, corporate partners, and useful connections your staff could never reach cold. The trustee does not have to make the ask, they simply have to make the introduction. A warm email, a coffee, a "this is someone you should meet." That warm introduction is worth more than any cold approach, because it comes wrapped in the trustee's own credibility and relationship. So help your board see their address books as one of the charity's greatest assets, and make it easy and comfortable for them to open a door without feeling they must then walk through it and ask for money themselves. Connecting is the contribution, and the staff can take it from there. Thanking, not just asking. If a trustee flatly refuses to ask for anything, give them the job that is all upside and no fear. Thanking. Board members make wonderful thankers, and it is one of the most valuable and underused things they can do. Imagine a donor's surprise and delight at receiving a personal phone call from a trustee of the charity, not to ask for anything, simply to say thank you. Your gift mattered, and here is what it did. That call, from a senior volunteer with nothing to sell, lands with extraordinary warmth and does more for donor loyalty than almost anything. It costs the trustee nothing but a little time. It involves no rejection and no awkwardness, and it plays to exactly the credibility a board member carries. So build trustee thank you calls into your routine. Hand each board member a small list of donors to ring with genuine gratitude, and watch the most fundraising shy trustees discover that they were brilliant at it all along. Giving them words they are comfortable with. A great deal of board reluctance is simply not knowing what to say. The fear of freezing, fumbling, or getting it wrong in front of someone they respect. You can dissolve much of that fear by giving trustees the words. Help them craft their own short, honest answer to "why do you support this charity?" in their own voice, so they have something genuine and ready when the moment comes. Give them a simple, natural way to make an introduction, or to mention the charity at a dinner without it feeling forced. Offer light, friendly practice, even just talking it through together, because rehearsal turns dread into competence. Never hand them a stiff corporate script, because that reintroduces the very artificiality that frightens them, and audiences feel it instantly. The goal is that each trustee has, ready in their pocket, a comfortable, truthful way to talk about the charity, so that when an opportunity arises, they lean into it instead of changing the subject. Match the role to the person. Not every trustee should do the same fundraising job, and trying to make them is exactly why boards freeze, so match the role to the person. Some board members are natural connectors who love introducing people, so let them open doors. Some are warm and personable and would happily make thank you calls all day. Some have deep professional skills, a lawyer, an accountant, a marketer who can strengthen your fundraising behind the scenes without ever speaking to a donor. A few, the rare ones, genuinely enjoy the direct ask, so unleash them on the major gifts. The art is to find the intersection of what each trustee is willing to do and good at, and ask them for exactly that, rather than demanding every trustee perform an identical, uncomfortable task. A board member doing a fundraising job that suits them will do it well and gladly, while one forced into a role they dread will do it badly, resentfully, and briefly, which serves nobody. Make it easy and make it normal. Two things quietly determine whether your board actually fundraises or merely intends to: making it easy and making it normal. Make it easy by doing the heavy lifting for them. Provide the introduction email they can forward, the donor list to thank with a page of talking points, the facts and the link, so that helping requires minimal effort and no preparation. A trustee will act on a task that takes 10 minutes and stall on one that feels like a project. Make it normal by weaving fundraising gently into the rhythm of board life. Put a fundraising moment on every meeting agenda. Celebrate the introductions and thank you calls trustees make, and share fundraising wins so people feel the collective progress. When supporting fundraising is a regular, expected, celebrated part of being on the board, rather than an occasional guilt-laden appeal from a desperate chief executive, it stops being frightening and starts being simply what this board does together. The chair sets the tone. Finally, none of this happens by accident, it is led, and the person who leads it is the chair. The board takes its cultural cues from the top, so if the chair treats fundraising as a slightly embarrassing necessity to be hurried past, the board will too. While if the chair models it, gives their own gift, makes their own introductions and thank you calls, and speaks about resourcing the mission as a proud shared duty, the rest of the board follows. So the chair should set the expectation warmly when recruiting new trustees, keep fundraising a visible and normal part of board life, and above all lead by example rather than exhortation. A chair who fundraises gives every other trustee permission to try, and a chair who quietly avoids it gives them permission to avoid it too. Culture is set at the top, so if you want a fundraising board, you need a chair and a founder who are visibly, comfortably part of it themselves. Quick recap, let us bring it together. Boards go quiet on fundraising out of very human fear, not laziness, so the answer is understanding, not pressure. Ensuring the charity is funded is a genuine board responsibility, best set as a warm expectation before people even join. The liberating truth is that fundraising is mostly connecting, thanking, opening doors and championing, not the dreaded direct ask. Expect every trustee to make their own meaningful gift, unlock the enormous value of their networks through warm introductions, and give the ask-averse the pure joy of thanking donors. Hand people comfortable words in their own voice, match the role to the person rather than forcing one task on all, and make helping both easy and normal. And remember that the chair sets the tone, so leadership must model it. Here is the heartening thing about board fundraising. Your trustees already care deeply. That is precisely why they gave their time and their name to your cause. And that genuine belief is the only raw material real fundraising needs. The awkwardness is not a lack of commitment. It is usually just fear and a too narrow idea of what fundraising is. And both of those you can dissolve with warmth, clarity, and the right role for each person. A board that fundraises comfortably, each in their own way, transforms a small charity's prospects because it multiplies your reach with the most credible advocates you have. So here is your simple start. At your next board meeting, spend 10 minutes redefining fundraising as connecting, thanking, and opening doors. Then ask each trustee for just one warm introduction or one thank you call before the next meeting. Watch the fear shrink. Remember that everything here is educational only. We are not affiliated with anything, and nothing here is legal or governance advice. So follow your own rules and constitution, and check anything important with the official source. If this helped, subscribe for more practical, honest charity marketing you can actually use, and take a look at the free written guide linked below. We will keep turning big, intimidating topics into calm, doable steps, one video at a time.